welcome to You and Your Uke. These are a series of intermediate ukulele tuition sessions, and you'd be quite right to ask, well, what does that mean? So if you have done some learning from a book or a teacher or online or even just by yourself, and you've got your fingers round a few basic chords, you've learned a few songs, then you want to think, well, how am I going to develop my playing? How do I get my own style? Where do I take it from here? And hopefully this series of tuition sessions will help. So that's what it's aimed at. What do you need to know before doing this to get the best out of it? Well, a few basic things. So for this session particularly, just 3 basic chords: the chord C major, F major, G major, and they are quite often the first chords you learn anyway. What's also useful is if you've got a handle on the C major scale, and can play that fairly fluently, and even maybe, although this is perhaps a little more advanced, play around with ideas within the C major scale. So you get the idea. And the last thing that's going to be useful is if you can spot what I'm doing if I play a simple 3-chord song using the chords of the C major key. So those 3 chords which we've just looked at are probably the ones that most people learn first. So let's do a song with those and see if you can follow it. Don't worry about the right hand for the moment. This session particularly is going to be about the left hand. It's going to be about scales and chords, and how you can adapt those chords to get some more interesting playing. So we're really worried about the left rather than the right hand. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are grey. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Okay, so if you stayed with that relatively well, you should be fine. So let's move on. As I say, we're going to look at chords and scales, and we're going to do some things with those 3 chords that might develop your ideas and thinking about playing. We're staying within the key of C major, but all of the things that we learned today you can then go ahead and apply to other keys. I hope you do. That's why your playing will become richer and more interesting. So we're going to go back and look at that C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. The trouble with playing the scale and trying to visualise a scale on a stringed instrument is that it's not only about travelling in one direction up the neck, it's also about travelling across the strings. So it's difficult to visualise it. For that reason, I'm going to put the uke down for a minute, if you'll excuse me, and I'll be back with an instrument where it's probably easier to see what's going on in the scale as well as hear. So here we have a piano accordion, and you're saying, I didn't know you could play the accordion, Dave. And you are absolutely right, I can't. But I can do a couple of things on the accordion, and one of them is play the C major scale, because it is just a white note. So So we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. If we take that first note of the scale, C, and add the third note, E, and then the fifth note of the scale, we have a C major chord. And we know how to play the C major chord on the ukulele. It comprises of those notes C, E, G. And it doesn't matter what order they're in. So if I put the E first, then the G, then the C, it's still a C major chord. If I put the G first, then the C, then the E, using a higher register for those, it's still a C major chord. Couple of other interesting things about this scale and this key. C major, if I take that third note of the scale and drop it down a half a step from E to this note, which is E flat or D sharp depending on what you want to call it, we go from C major to C minor, C major, C minor. And that shift on a ukulele is just one fret. And the last thing, because I don't want to get too much into learning the accordion, we're supposed to be learning the ukulele, is if I take the root and the fifth, that's the C and the G, there I've got two C's and one G, then we have what we sometimes call on the ukulele a C5 chord, which is neither major nor minor, but very useful and very interesting, as we will see when we get back to the ukulele. So let's look at that C major chord again, and the F major, and the G major. I'm going to play the C slightly differently. I'm going to use my little finger on the top string, and next to it, still on that third fret but on the second string, I'm going to put my third finger. That's still a C. We have two G notes this time, two C notes. The G's are at the same pitch, providing you've got a high G here. So it's a root and fifth in the same way that we saw on the accordion. This is sometimes written as a C5 to indicate there's no third note of the scale. So it could be a major or it could be a minor, depending on the context. So I'm going to use that in place of where we had the C major. If we take the F chord, I'm going to take away that finger, so leave an open G there rather than the A note, and put that C back in with my little finger on the top string. So that's actually called an F sus2, if you need to know. But we're going to use it in place of where the F was in the song. And that's of course an easy change. You can leave that on all the time. It's a very nice change too. For the G chord, I'm going to just take the first finger off, which takes away a D note and leaves and C. That's an unusual chord. I don't know what you would call it, to be honest. It's a G with a C in the bass. So I'm replacing those original chords now in that song with these chords, which gives it a much more interesting feel. It's actually easier to play slightly. And just hear it. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are grey. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. You might be able to hear that the different timbres of the chords are actually making me sing it differently, and I'm going to take that to a further level in just a moment. Okay, I'm going to finish by going back to that song You Are My Sunshine and playing it using the 3 alternative chords that we've looked at today, and allowing those chords to give me scope to kind of take that melody places where maybe it doesn't belong, maybe it does, to create my own version of that particular song. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are grey. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamed that you were by my side. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. Then I hung my head and cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are grey. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Please don't take my sunshine away. Oh, please don't take my sunshine away. Thank you. I'll see you all soon.